Hello, 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 and welcome to the RuCap here on RHAP, We Know Reality TV, where we'll be discussing RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star Season 10's finale episode. I'm one of your hosts, Beth Dixon, and I'm so excited to be joined once again by Aman Adwin, who's been by my side for the past, I feel like 7 months at this point. I mean, Aman, really.
We pulled a Lydia Butthole Collins and got 7 full months of Drag Race.
7 months of butthole. Here we are. And you know what? Someone, I saw this online. Somebody put together Lydia has lip synced for her life or as a part of winning every single month of the year so far. So all of her lip syncs were one was in January, one was in February, March, April, May, and June, and now July.
That is crazy.
So
12 months of Lydia supremacy.
I know.
The propaganda is strong.
We're going to need August through December from her. Okay. So that is for sure. So Aman, what did you think about this finale? And just how shocked were you? Because I know I was blown away.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we both kind of saw this coming. A lot of people saw it coming. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I can't really mince words here. Yay! I mean, look, Ginger Minge is a fantastic performer, fantastic drag queen. Everybody loves Ginger. I would never say a bad word about Ginger. And I think that her being amongst the winners of RuPaul's Drag Race, All-Stars or not, is something that definitely rings true in my mind. It feels correct. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we got to see her for the better part of 15 years now, and just really come into her own and hone her craft as a performer and be successful off and on the show. So, yeah, Ginger, all props to the girl. I thought that watching how gracious she was with Georges when they got to see the crowning, to see who officially was going to get the title, I thought was just so kind, because she let Georges know, she literally, she didn't even, before she could even say thank you to Georges, she asked Georges, are you okay? Because she knows what it feels like to sort of be in that position where you get so close, you're so close to the end, not only close to the end, but you're close to the end after your second time, right? So it's or I guess at that point it was her third time. So she knows what, more than anyone, more than most people, what Georges could be feeling right now. And she just had a moment to step down and just check in on her. And Georges too, I'm glad that Georges has been real about how she's felt, but also gracious. It sucked. I feel kind of shitty right now, but at the same time, you killed this, and nobody can deny that Georges did kill this season. Or Ginger, excuse me, but both of them really. But at the same time, from a storytelling perspective, from a franchise perspective, from sort of just a viewer perspective, okay. I mean, we kind of knew this was going to happen. It really feels like a bit of a lifetime achievement season for Ginger, which, as we've been sort of talking about over the past couple of weeks on the podcast, that's probably kind of what Drag Race really has become. It's sort of been a challenge. All-Stars has become the challenge version of Drag Race. We have a bit of a recurring cast that sort of just cycles in and out. We see a bunch of repeats, we see some newcomers, and it's sort of just this ongoing competition. So I think if people frame it that way more so, I feel like it's a little bit more digestible in that way, as opposed to trying to compare each and every All-Star season to All-Stars 2. It's just, I think that long gone are the days where we have an All-Stars level season like that, because it's just kind of impossible to, with the frequency of the seasons, with the frequency of some of the people that return on the seasons. It just is what it is, So, but you can't blame the girls. All you can really do is just continue to voice your opinions to production, who, let's face it, if they haven't been listening thus far, they're probably not going to now. So it just is what it is.
It is what it is. And you know what? I, for one, as a mega Ginger fan, am ecstatic. I am so happy that she won. And I don't care that there was favoritism once or twice in the season in her favor. But I feel like there's a lot of people who are angry online. And I would like to speak to all of you if you're happening to listen to this podcast and say, calm down. We all had the same feeling when Shea Coulee won All Stars 5, and now nobody cares. And we're all like, yeah, that might have been set up for Shea to win, in the same way that we're going to say that for Ginger for All Stars 10, and the way that people have said that about Sasha Colby for her only season of season 15. It's not that things were made for Ginger. Like, it's so weird, especially in the semifinals onwards, to say there was any favoritism to Ginger. She's just that good. I don't understand the invalidation for her, and she has gotten it every time she's been on the, oh, well, it's just going to be Ginger, and then she doesn't win, and then people are like, well, see, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, so she can't win or lose in some of these fans' eyes. So I want to just read out what Mayhem Miller has posted, and I love it. Okay. So Mayhem on Instagram said, watchers of the show need to remember, 1, this is a TV show. 2, when Ru calls, you should always accept the invitation because you might not get another chance. 3, be entertained and celebrate the LGBTQ representation that we have on TV, because not too long ago it didn't exist. And we live in times where it could be easily taken away. 4, make your quote unquote winner feel like a winner, even if they don't win. And you can do that without tearing down someone else. Buy their music, merch, like and share their content, request they are brought out to your bars and clubs, demand they're on tours that come to your cities. And 5, your opinions mean nothing, but your dollars, support, engagement, and participation does. And I think that is just the crux of all of this, right? If we can get to a place to remember that Drag Race is unlike any other competition reality show, that yes, there are going to be events for Survivor and Big Brother and Amazing Race and all those other places, right? But so rarely do we get to see people who are in their profession come and do this for us on television, get pitted against each other, and then get to continue to be entertained by them with their craft online through content and person at different events and festivals, on television and movies and Broadway and all these other places. And to say that Ginger Minge doesn't deserve a crown because the production favorited her, I'm sorry, she earned the damn favoritism, okay? Like, no offense to Georges, who I thought did amazing, but I also don't see her yet as somebody who is the best to have never won, like a Ginger, like a Manila, like people who have been legends. Ginger at this point, because it's a 15, 16, 17, 18-year legacy, is one of the kind of like OGs at this point, even though she came in at season 7. She has been around the block. This is the first time Georges has made the final 2. This is the 3rd time Ginger has made the final. They are not, when we talk about legacy of being on the show, they're not on the same level in that way. And I'm not saying that because they have very different talents and aesthetics. And I'm not saying that they're not on the same level, because they're not on any level that is like Georges can dance and move and do things that Ginger will never. Okay. But Ginger can do things that Georges can never. Okay. And I, for one, because I am an unapologetic Ginger fan, I've just been very excited. And I'm really stoked that I got to celebrate her finally win a crown that I feel like has been deserved more times over than anybody else who's been on the show. So if anything, all of you who don't like Ginger or don't like the favoritism or whatever the case might be, or if you're like pushing the Willem, like, oh no, like it's all like they're playing in our faces, whatever. Good. Game over for Ginger. We don't have to see her again unless they want to do an All-Stars All Winners. And guess what? It'll be funny when she doesn't bring that crown home and she's in the final 2 again. Okay? It'll be funny. We'll make jokes about it, people. It'll be amazing. But until that, calm down.
Yeah.
Be thankful that we got drag on our television.
Yeah.
And it ended with a pretty good lip sync Lollapalooza, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to always keep that perspective in it. And, you know, I get people being frustrated. I'm always I'm always complaining about what I don't like about Drag Race, and that's fine to do that. But what's not okay is to try to tear people down, try to make Ginger's life horrible. Like, do you guys want people to continue to come on the show? Like, because I feel like you're gonna get very, very close to some queens just being like, it's not worth it, boo. Like, I don't feel
There's
like
a lot of queens who have already come back and say that.
right. Like, no one wants to get bullied online. Like, what do you want queens like Ginger to do? Like Mayhem said, you want her to say no to RuPaul coming back when it's guaranteed money, when it's guaranteed exposure. Like, why would any of them turn down a job? And I mean, not for nothing, we know what the experiences are like for queens like Willem, queens like Courtney Act. And we know that, like, if you are ousted from the in crowd that is World of Wonder production, wow, you kind of get iced out. And like, what queen would want to be in that position? Now, whether or not, like, I mean, that's like another conversation that I think deserves some spotlight. Like, yeah, maybe we do need to, maybe there needs to be a bit more of a magnifying glass on just like what are some of the shady things that happen with some of these creators of Drag Race, because it's not just RuPaul, y'all. Like, RuPaul is a co-creator and a co-owner of the RuPaul. His name is on it, but it is not just his own. He teamed up with World of Wonder, who actually create the show and then ship it to Paramount Plus, ship it to MTV, Viacom, whatever have you. So there are a lot, like when he accepts those Emmys, you see all the people that are standing behind him that are not the queens. Those are the people that are also making the decisions about, oh, well, let's invite this person back. Oh, no, that person's on the shit list.
Like, looking at Fenton and what's his name? Fenton Bailey or something like that. Like, there's
something, I don't know.
Fentanyl. That's his drag name.
So it's like, there are people that we can have these conversations about, but at the end of the day, the queens, they're there to entertain. They're there to support themselves. They're there to have the careers that they've wanted to have as drag performers. And that really has to be, what tempers us all, because at the end of the day, it is just a TV show. Yes. We're all here to have a good time. And queer people are very much under attack right now. Our civil liberties are very much under attack right now. I know that it doesn't always feel like that for people. Like, I don't want to be on a soapbox like too much right now, but like,
Aman, we have to be
scary, guys. Like,
literally, if you're really recording this on Monday, July 21st, and over the past few days, Trump's administration has officially closed down the LGBTQIA plus help toll-free line that was sponsored by the government. Canada has made a toll-free line for American citizens, U.S. citizens who are queer, to be able to call and get the support they need, because our government won't do it. And just to bring this a little bit further, because I am a true believer that those of us, even with the smallest of platforms on a line, have to speak out of injustices. The stuff that's going on with Stephen Colbert being fired is absolutely going to tie into Drag Race and Survivor and Big Brother and all the Challenge and Amazing Race and all these beautiful shows that we love, because back in January, the DE&I initiative was revoked for these shows, which we have seen already play out with Survivor 50's cast and many others. Okay. We have already seen the effects of this administration within months. We've got 3 more years, and that's thank you. You can put that in the freezer. Recording a podcast. Come on. I wanted this. My father was very nice to just drop in some ice cream.
Ooh.
To put it in the freezer. Here we are. So anyway, the point being is I am hopeful that, while we have this moment to have a little bit of like, hey, yeah, it's not about the ginger of it all or whatever. It's about how we are consuming media and how we are advocating for our own communities. All of us who watch these shows, all of this matters. And we need to be vocal. We need to be saying this is not okay. I, for one, even though I will continue to watch these shows, I'm going to be canceling Paramount Plus. I cannot do that. That's something I'm going to choose to do, which means, yes, I will not be watching feeds as easily this year. Okay. I understand that there's going to be sacrifices. That is just what I'm going to be doing. Right. So yeah, it's a reality show. It's a show first. It's a competition second. There's going to be favoritism. There's going to be production produced moments. We're going to complain about them here on the podcast. We're going to celebrate when they go in our direction that we like. And we're going to be mad when they don't. And that's part of the content. But all of this is to say, let's do it without tagging any queens and tearing them down. And by uplifting the voices that need to be heard right now. Right. And like you said, this cast, for as messy as some of it has been, they're pretty great online right now. They are more gracious and deserving and spilling tea and being funny and really enjoying the spotlight they have.
And again, a lot of them look the same complaints that we have and the things that we're noticing. They know too.
They see it. They're complaining too.
Have been, I feel like more than anything, a lot of them have also been kind of vocal this particular season. And I would hope that the Drag Race alum are making it very clear where some of their little side-eyedness should be going, because some of them, I will say, some of them, I won't mention names because I don't want to feed into the frenzy of it all, but some of them have been putting on messages that make it very easy for people to attack Ginger. And I'm like, that's not right. You might want to fix that tweet because that's not cool. Right. But the point being is that, like, they know. The girls know. The queens, they know. And if the queens themselves are, because if there's anyone that has the power to maybe make things shift a little bit in terms of what's going on with production and how the show is run and how it's produced, it would be the people that they're pulling these casts from. So, like, you know, I don't think that we're screaming into as much as a vacuum as we might feel like we are sometimes. I think that the show is not perfect. There are people who are going to have complaints about the show and how it's run. And hopefully we see those things changed. We just have to make sure that we're doing it in a way, because at the end of the day, it's just drag.
It's just drag. And that's the thing. We should celebrate that. And the fact that, like, whether Ginger's your cup of tea or not, like, in the way that Violet was not my cup of tea, I can still sit back and go, damn, she deserved a crown. I thought that Ginger should have won over her, but I'm not saying she didn't deserve a crown, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. So let's just celebrate while we can. Let's shift our conversation a little bit. And let's talk a little bit just how the structure of this episode ended up coming down. Because as we saw from previews last week, there was going to be a rate a queen. And we now know that they all had to rate the queen that they felt like from top to bottom was their biggest competition in lip syncing to win. And then what we kind of had to assume, and also ended up being the case, even the queens assumed it and were correct, that based on the order, the top would be against the bottom in the first, just like any tournament. If you look at the NCAA March Madness tournament, that's how it works, right? Anybody who's a seed 1 goes against a seed 24 or whatever it is, right? So, well, not 24, but they're way bigger than that, whatever it is. So the whole point is we knew it was going to be top versus bottom and that it would work its way towards like the 2 middle queens. I was shocked by some placement of some of these queens. And I know some of it was like some shenanigans by the queens placing people themselves, but that's where I felt like some influence from production might have happened. We saw some of the placements of queens. We didn't see everybody's full placements really. So I thought it was interesting that Georges was so low.
Because I think it was Aja who said she would have loved to have seen how the rest of her sisters voted, which was sort of like alluding to maybe there was like some kind of like production rigor. I'm like, well, no, that one's, yes, there's production rigor, but that one's easily debunkable. Like, you can just ask your sisters, what did y'all do?
Like, well, here's the thing. That's if you trust the bitch, and you probably don't. Half these people say things and they get back and they're like, oh yeah, I forgot I said that in the confessional. Anyway, like, that's how I really felt. But, in the same way that like Mistress, for example, last episode when she did like the laughing in Aja's face and like we had a whole conversation about it. apparently after the cameras cut, she just turned to Aja and went like, sister, we just made some really good television. Like, so like you can't trust a bitch on this season. Okay. So yeah, go ask them. But I would understand if they didn't trust the information that they tell. But I do think like, some of the voting was interesting. Number 1 was Ginger. Number 2 was, who was number 2? Lydia? I think Lydia was number 2.
Yeah? No. Yes?
I think it was.
Oh my God. It
was
Ginger
because she
and what's her face, and then Lydia and.
I should just bring out my notes. So
Ginger
yes, it was Lydia. Lydia was number 2. Georges was number 3. Number 4 was Bosco. Number 5 was Daya. Number 6 was Aja. Number 7 was Irene, and number 8 was Carrie.
Yes.
So in the first round, we got Ginger versus Carrie. Ginger is the one who got randomly decided to choose the song. She chose Disease by Lady Gaga. And then it was, I'm just going to go through the order and then we can talk about each lip sync individually. And then Lydia versus Irene, they did Joyride by Kesha. Georges versus Aja for Party Lights by Natalie Cole. And then Bosco versus Daya for Show Me Your Burlesque by Christina Aguilera. So we had 4 lip sync. First of all, they kind of like went right down the order of the list. Like I thought that was interesting myself, but an interesting point here is that everybody who chose the song won the lip sync.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I also thought that there was pretty interesting songs on the list. Like I love Lady Gaga. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. Disease is an interesting lip sync song.
I won't hear anything against Disease.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's interesting because it kind of makes you have the rah-rah Lady Gaga aspect, right? Like very fame monster kind of face. And that's pretty much what you got to do.
Yeah. I think Disease was actually my favorite one of the night. It was
really good.
To be honest. Well, anyway, continue what you're saying and then we'll get into it.
No. Go for it. Tell me about Disease. What did you like the most about it?
I really appreciated what both queens brought to it. Now, in my opinion, I do think Carrie beat Ginger here, but obviously they're not going to send through Carrie over Ginger. It's just not going to happen. Even all the people that were screaming for rigor mortis for Ginger, I have to imagine everybody be like, okay, now that no. But I do think like in a vacuum, I think I was kind of more into what Carrie was serving a little bit. I do think that there was a moment in Carrie's performance of it where I was like, I feel like she like did one of these. And then when the song is supposed to like, she kind of plateaued a little bit. And I was like,
that's exactly how I felt.
You gotta give me a little bit. You gotta end the story. You gotta give me the orgasm, okay? Like you keep edging me.
Listen, this song is about being horny, okay? It's about being horny. I can smell your disease. Come on, I can smell your pheromones, bitch. So here's the thing. I agree. I think that Carrie killed it in the beginning, and I was actually so nervous for Ginger. But then she did this one move that was great, but it was too pretty. It was too graceful. And she did like a spin and then got down onto the ground. And it just like wasn't really in time. And it was too pretty. It wasn't gritty enough for the song. She didn't have the edge that Disease begs. Ginger's, I would argue, had more of the edge in how she uses her facial expressions. I think that we can all agree that Ginger's a pretty expressive queen, and that most of the time, whether it's her comedy or her some kind of emotions, are always going to come most from her face, and then her body will follow. And I felt like, first of all, I got to just take a step back and say, Ginger's wig is the best I've ever seen on her. What she had for this lip sync challenge, I loved that big blonde wig so much. And I loved how big and teased up it was. And I thought that like her whole outfit really went with the song.
Yes.
I wanted Carrie Colby to undo the ponytail and let her rip and such, and really get gritty. And she didn't. And I just felt like that was her biggest downfall. Otherwise, I felt like Ginger did a good job. And I was not mad that she moved forward. I kind of felt like I was going to be mad because I didn't think Carrie beat her that much. If she did beat her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Ginger goes forward, and that makes sense. Lydia comes up, and she gets to choose the song, and she chooses Joyride by Kesha. How did you feel about the Lydia versus Irene lip sync? Because there's a couple things that we could talk about with this one.
Definitely. I just kept thinking about Valentina when talking about
Pheromone.
She fell hard,
hard.
bitch.
She did, though.
She did. She fell hard, bitch.
And some of those tricks, when she was talking about, she's like, I'm pulling everything out of my arsenal. I was like, girl, you might want to practice some of these things in your arsenal, because like the cartwheel didn't look good. Like some of the moves were just like not there for Irene, and which was too bad, because I know that this isn't necessarily like the thing that she's best at on Drag Race, but I thought she looked cool, and I thought that she had a good energy about her. And it was just like, it was like me trying to lip sync, and that's not a good bar to be at.
Yeah. I mean, Lydia has really surprised me as a lip sync performer. I feel like every time I feel like I've got her number on how she's going to interpret something, she kind of gives a little
different,
little shimmy to the left. I don't think she's going to go right, which I do enjoy. So I do think that there is like something exciting. I guess I see what RuPaul sees in Lydia, but it would have been interesting to see her matched up against somebody like a Georges or an Aja, because have we seen that? No.
Who? Georges versus Aja?
Yeah.
No. We haven't seen that.
Lydia versus Aja.
No, we haven't seen that. Sorry. Yes, we've seen Georges versus Aja. We haven't seen
right. So I would be interested to see how that matches up, how those energies combine. But I do think that this lip sync here, I think, was pretty good.
Yeah.
For her, I think that she served it up pretty well. Yeah.
I thought she had great energy. I thought she boogied fine. And, Joyride's such an interesting song. So when I saw that was on the list, I was like, ooh, that was the one that actually intrigued me the most. I admittedly didn't know Party Lights by Natalie Cole, which we'll get to in a minute. But this was the one that I was just like, ooh, I can't wait to say, like, out of these queens, who's the one that's going to do this, right? And I kind of pegged, like, I was like, I feel like this would weirdly, I know Burlesque is obviously going to be a good one for Bosco, but I kind of felt like this one could be a good one for Bosco. And I felt like this could be a good one for Daya. And there was a part of me that kind of wished we could have seen those two go to this one, since Show Me Your Burlesque was so incredibly one-sided, which we will get to as well. But I thought Lydia did well. And that big mace was a moment. And I loved her having to put the mace down when she was voting. But she's just a little wild. But yeah, I mean, the story there is really Irene falls and Lydia doesn't. She rises to the occasion. We then have the Party Lights by Natalie Cole lip sync with Georges versus Aja. And I got to tell you, Aman, Aja won that until she took the Mother Superior outfit off. If she had kept that on and camped it up a little bit while dancing, ain't no way Georges would have beat her, because all I got was same old Georges that I'm used to seeing. And I'm laughing hysterically at the Mother Superior-esque look while she's lip syncing and like talking about praying to the Lord and all that kind of, like, it was perfect. And then she did the reveal, and then it just kind of like from there. And Georges was like, bet I'm gonna just turn it up, and RuPaul eats it. So, and I get it. I also would have said that Georges won the lip sync after that. But Aja definitely could have won that if she'd just been camp. And that's my feelings on it.
Yeah, and it did feel a little like she was playing catch up a bit. And we know what Aja is capable of. And obviously, some time has passed. She's a little older. We all age. We always can't like be bending as far as we once were able to. But yeah, I did feel a little bit like her performance was just a touch stunted. So
I really think it didn't, the reveal didn't go as smoothly, I think, as she had wanted it to. And I think that threw her off. And it wasn't even like the top part. It was like that bottom part really messed her up a little bit. Just not even really messed up, but I think it just got her out of the groove for a second. But
yeah.
And then the last lip sync of this bracket or this round is Bosco versus Daya with Show Me Your Burlesque. Daya was like a fan on stage. I'm sorry. She didn't do bad.
Yeah.
It's just, how are you going to compete with a woman who is wearing burlesque reveals on her body?
I don't know
for
how
that
this
one
was
song?
going to go any other way. Yeah.
That was.
Yeah. Now one could argue that like, did Bosco sort of like let the attire and accoutrement sort of do a lot of the heavy lifting for the lip sync? Yeah, maybe, but still, you still have to learn how to perform as a burlesque person. Like just simply wearing that stuff doesn't make you burlesque. You got to know how to move your body. You got to know how to execute the sensuality of it all, and that is right up Bosco's alley. Now the only thing about it is that like now once you take all that shit off, Bosco,
we're gonna do the next thing.
Now you're just a naked bitch on stage.
Here's the thing. I'd like to say Bosco knew the risk she was taking with that outfit. Okay. If she doesn't get Show Me Your Burlesque, you still have to perform a burlesque number to get the fan reveals, actually like the peacock feathers, right? And I loved the moment. It was like, and she's just kind of like opening up like a clam, and like loved all that kind of stuff. You can still do that to other songs. It just like was so perfect. It was such a perfect storm. I just don't think Daya could compete with that in a way that like if it were another song, Daya could absolutely bring something. I want to give Bosco props because we've had RuPaul's Reveal Race for like ever since Sasha Velour. And I really want to commend her that making the reveals more burlesque, while it's not new to the show, drag takes a lot from burlesque. And I think it's really cool to see a queen who does this in Vegas perform it for television and give us a sense of what burlesque is and kind of introduce that a little bit to some of the people at home. So I loved it. I loved the reveals that they were a little bit different in that she was already kind of scantily clad when she came out there. And I say that with all the respect and love in the world. It's kind of cool to see it go down to even less clothing and still be covered. And also, my God, those boobs.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, damn. She's packing some tickle bitties, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Bosco, please name a number of the surgeon. Thanks. Anyway, not that I need it. I don't know why I'm talking. So then we go into round 2, and Bosco's got to immediately turn around and lip sync against Ginger. Ginger gets to choose the
raise your glass. Who put that shit on the list?
I was like, is this, no offense, this is one of the songs I think of Glee with the most because I liked this version from Glee more than the original. This song is so earnest in a cringe way to me. Yes. Like, and I don't mind Pink. I like love Pink. Love Pink. I do think she's a bad seed on this earth.
I just really don't like her. She's a bad seed on this earth. Like, God damn.
Okay. Also, World of Wonder, if you're gonna put Pink in the finale and you're not gonna grab Thorgy for the pit stop, Monet is the host. Bob was the host last time. Come on.
Yeah, that was a fumble.
I was a little mad. No, don't get me wrong. I love Alyssa Edwards and I love Monet and Alyssa having her moment and whatever. That's great. I wanted Thorgy Thor. Give me Thorgy Thor talking about Pink again.
Yes.
This Bosco to me just didn't really do much for this song. And I hate this song, don't get me wrong. But I felt like Ginger had the perfect amount of earnestness that matched the song that was also tongue-in-cheek to laugh at it as well. And I just felt like this was such a, not maybe as much of a landslide as the burlesque number was in Bosco's favor, but this to me was very like Ginger crushed this over Bosco.
I also
don't know
just
if you
think
feel like
visually, like I said, it just Bosco was just not in that world of Pink with what she had on, and I guess that's sort of like the risk that you run.
Oh yeah,
with some of your outfit choices, and like, should your outfit always sort of like determine how your lip sync is perceived? No, but like it can, you know what I mean? And I feel like it restricts you a little bit. Like she can't really be doing all the bouncing and bouncing and bouncing when there's like very little separating her nipples from the from the open air. Like
hello.
So it was kind of just like I could sense her like apprehension and like not really knowing exactly where to go and what to do. It just, you know, it was an unfortunate situation, and I haven't yet watched the Untucked part, but from what I was told, she's definitely
going back just quickly. I do want to say that on Untucked, Carrie said the reason why she didn't take out the ponytail, or maybe she said this on the show, I can't remember, but somewhere she said the reason why was because it was so messy that she didn't think it would be a clean reveal or something like that. So that's why she didn't do it. But I'm also like, bitch, then don't do that hair. Like, whip your hair around for disease. Anyway, yeah, I kind of feel like Bosco was like happy with what she did and was able to kind of like show the world the burlesque thing. And I think that's like the most important thing for her, besides like, obviously she wanted the crown, but Ginger's not going to choose wherever, whenever, when she's against Bosco, who's like a body queen, right? Yeah. She's not going to choose something that's about the body. And simultaneously is like kind of screwing over Lydia a little bit by choosing this song, which we actually learned for this next lip sync. Lydia is a huge Shakira fan, and she had what was it? Her 5th birthday party was a Shakira birthday party. Like that's pretty incredible. But that said, I just kind of felt like this was the first time I watched Lydia and thought, okay. And Georges didn't do what she normally does, really leaned into those wonderful Latin roots. And it was beautiful to watch. I thought she did a great job. She was graceful. She had energy. She had that beautiful face. And it was just the way that she moved her body was like no brainer for me on this one.
Yeah. Yeah. She, it was definitely like in her bag and her element that this is, you could tell that she's she lives and breathes this. And Shakira's music is just, it really just makes you want to move, and it's just very full of life and just like, I can't help but like to feel that when watching her. So yeah, I think this was definitely
when I was in college, I used to wake up. I had an alarm clock that you could put CDs in and it choose a track, and it would wake you up to a track on there. And this song was one of the songs I would wake up to in college because it would just get me shaking, and I'd be putting on stuff like, yeah. But it was, that's a fun, like that was a fun one to see. Like I felt like all the songs were fun except for Raise Your Glass. And I'm going to be honest, this final lip sync, which was against Ginger and Georges, to the classic drag theme, It's Raining Men. I was like, ooh, yay, a classic. And then I was just kind of like, oh, like, what do they do with this? Because it used to be the gag was, oh, it's a man in a dress. It's raining men. And everyone's like, ah, ha, 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 ha. How do you go beyond that for this and do more? And I felt like there are people who are like, oh, Georges beat Ginger in this last lip sync. I disagree. I felt like Ginger camped it up to a fun place that was more in spirit of like the tradition of the song. And I felt like Georges brought it to like a fresh new place with movement. They were both really good, but I still found myself being like, this is a weird song to end a season on. But I don't know how you feel about that. Yeah.
It's so interesting where like how do they like come to these determinations? Like I know that a lot of it has to do with who they have on the show and who they think is going to deliver what that queen might have in the repertoire, but sometimes it's just like it does just feel a little just more like a I just want to be wowed. I want to see like a moment in like Drag Race history, and I just feel like what we're just going to talk about is just more the dialogue, unfortunately, surrounding season 10 is just going to be about like Ginger winning, this being her 4th time, yada yada yada, rigor mortis, rigor. But what could have really lessened a bit of that conversation is just like a slam dunk ass fucking lip sync that feels really I just
yeah, no, I hear you. I wanted something with like energy, emotion, something. And this had energy, but it wasn't finale energy. And I don't know how else to say it. Like, I feel like I'm a big fan of the finale being a lip sync being a ballad or being a slow song or something like that, something with emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Or being something that's like, you better have pyrotechnics up your pussy or something because, like, bitch, we got to make this work. I just generally feel like the Lollapalooza ending just makes it hard because most people do all the tricks leading up to this final lip sync. And I want to commend Ginger, who didn't strip things away the first round because she knew she could be going farther and waited to take things off. I genuinely felt like Georges should have kept on whatever was over her like little bodysuit thing, because I'm going to say it, I feel like half the reason I was distracted watching Georges was because the weird boning of her corset bodysuit thing was see-through and it was distracting. Half the time I was just looking at her going like, why is she wearing that?
Mm-hmm.
Why did she reveal to that so early? Why didn't she reveal to that in the last song? She already was handedly winning wherever, whenever. There was no point to do a reveal. You got that, girl. Like, save it for the end. Give yourself something to do there. Of course, she doesn't do that because, you want to make sure that you're winning to get to the finale. But I don't know. I just kind of felt like Lollapalooza, when you have this many rounds and this many lip syncs, the finale lip sync might feel a little flat regardless of whatever the song is.
Yeah, I think it's always going to feel like they're like, oh, okay, let's get it over with at the end. Especially when they're not allowed to have multiple outfits. And I'm not saying they necessarily should be allowed to have multiple outfits. As a drag queen, you're going to be out there lip syncing all fucking night long. You don't always get a time for a quick change. So like, I sort of like that it sort of like rings true to like the working girl type deal. So I kind of get that you got to be smart with what you got, So I don't necessarily know if them needing to switch it up is the answer, but at the very least, I guess, people like the song choices sort of have to represent a culmination of a season, I think, to me. And sometimes, some seasons knock it out of the park, and some seasons you're just like, I forgot what the song was until you said what it was. The only song that I remember is Disease.
Fair. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I had to look everything up again because I have gotten to a point where I have like no short-term memory anymore. I don't know what's going on. It's a miracle I even come on here and can put a sentence together, which is arguable half the time. But I genuinely felt like I watched the finale and went, that was entertaining. But I wasn't like, oh my God, every lip sync was incredible. And I wasn't thinking that history was made or anything like that. I was just happy that Ginger won. I was generally happy with the format that people went through. I liked the little voting. Here's what production, because I know that they listen, could do to bring it to the next level. Stop with the random song choices through the ball with Bruno. Instead, the queens who are not lip syncing should be able to vote. So I'm going to give you an example, okay? First lip sync, regardless of whoever it is, they say you have to lip sync to this song and then make it random or something. Instead of doing the voting thing or whatever, make it random. From there on out, whoever loses chooses the song for the next lip sync. Okay? Then the queens have a little bit more stake in the game. They can play and screw people over if they want, or whatever the case might be. They get to see who the next two are up, and like from the back room or whatever, they choose the song. And it would be so cool if the queens didn't know what the song was until it started playing.
Yeah.
And then they lip sync, right? I just think something like that could be interesting. Do something where like those who are no longer a part of the competition are the ones choosing. Have somebody choose who doesn't have a stake in the game of that lip sync. I like the voting. That was cool. I just think that this could be a little bit more interesting, but that, I don't know. I generally think Lollapaloozas are interesting, but they kind of just take away from whatever that final lip sync is, especially if it's a finale of a season.
Right.
That said, I'm not mad at this whole format this entire time. Okay. I do think there are things they should work out. I don't think Snatch Game should be the first semifinal thing. I don't think you should bring a queen back from before the semifinals for the finale. Instead, you should bring them back for the semifinals if you're going to do it like this. I think that if you just switch the talent show and the Snatch Game, that makes a lot of sense narratively leading up. Okay. You come back, you show everybody how you got to the semifinals with a talent show. Then you prove yourself with one of the most iconic challenges, the Snatch Game, Lollapalooza win. Cool. I think that would be great. But I know a lot of people didn't like it. I personally did, and I'm fine with them changing up this All-Stars format because I don't think it should be as similar to the normal show as it is. You want to win this show and you don't want to do a voting or do any weird shit like that, win the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry.
As Bob the Drag Queen and Bianca Del Rio will always remind people, like, yeah, I don't have to do that because I already won. So I don't.
Exactly. And what do they have to prove? Nothing, right? So,
Yeah.
Aman, what are your thoughts on the season as a whole?
It was a good time. It was fun in the beginning. There was so much anticipation with all of the queens. I would have loved a moment for all queens to have been in the room. I would have loved to have had all of the queens come back for the finale, because there is a piece of me that feels like this cast is very disparate. Like, it doesn't feel like a cohesive cast since, however many of them were never interacting with the others.
Yeah.
And to see Carrie, and to see Carrie seeing some of these people for the first time
in the finale.
The finale was kind of jarring because there was literally no time for her to really even have a moment of kiki. It was just like straight to business. So I do think that this podcast sort of suffers from a bit of a pacing issue, a lack of community issue.
This podcast does?
Sorry?
You said this podcast suffers from?
Oh, I meant the season.
I was like, oh, damn. Now Aman's reviewing our own podcast. Yeah, it just suffers from. I was like, oh, shit. Now we're on review ourselves. God damn.
The season. So, yeah, I don't know if there's a way to sort of like, I think just having all of the queens at the finale would have like really helped with that, just so that we can
I'm going to throw something else out there. The same format with the adjustments I made, but one more episode in the semifinals. Okay. And that episode is a makeover challenge where you make over the queens who didn't make it to the semifinals. So maybe that's the first one that comes out. Then Snatch Game, talent show, whatever, if you do it that way or something. But I think that would be interesting, or it's like you make over the queens, and that's kind of like a celebration of like, congratulations to all of you that are, that made it all the way here. Now we can see who won what, and that could bring up a lot of drama. Like, imagine the pink bracket all being in the same room and being like, screw you three for blah, 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 blah. Like in the greater room.
Yep.
I just think that would have been cool too, but I'm sure that they were like, yeah, we don't want to spend the money. Yeah. But I do think it would be good.
So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the season for the most part, even though, we kind of knew where it was headed. I wonder what if it'll feel the same for the next for season 11, because the rumor has it is that they're just going to go ahead and do this bracket style again. So that's going to require a lot of queens. So if we already had quite a few returnees on this season, well, buckle up, bitch, because there's going to be quite a
George is
few of
coming
them.
back for season 3 in a row of All
Can
Stars
you
with Adwin.
imagine? Oh my god.
She probably might.
And at this point, if it happens, then it happens, and then we sort of just really have to get used to the idea that this is just, it's a rolling competition.
Yeah.
It never ends. Like, you know what I mean? It's people
Well, I
that
hope it
come
never
in and try to
ends.
get their win, and yeah, that too. People try to come in and get their win, and that's just it. It is what it is, and you sort of have to start judging All Stars on a more career-based way as opposed to just that one particular season. I would just hope that then when there are seasons where there are queens that obviously are showing a lot of growth, that have come back with a vengeance, that have really sort of like changed their performance from the first time, I would hope that those queens, their story isn't overshadowed too much by, once again, someone coming back for the umpteenth time. And then, because that's also where I feel like a lot of frustration comes from, is that people feel like, yes, good for Ginger, but like, damn, that kind of sucks for Bosco. Like, she really came in and like really turned it out, but because, you know, production has a specific plan that they want to go through, it doesn't really seem to hold as much weight. So like, I understand all those frustrations, and I do think that there's a way to smooth that out and still invite people back. I know that there's a way to do that. We saw it with Aja. Like, this isn't her first time coming back, but there was so much time from the last time that she was on that it feels balanced in that way. When you have someone that was just here, like a Georgia and a Ginger, it doesn't always feel balanced, because why are those people
the thing is Ginger wasn't just here. It's been 4 seasons of All Stars.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
I think the thing is what I find a little frustrating is, like, I agree with the Bosco comment, except for the part where it was like, Bosco clearly lost that lip sync to Ginger. That wasn't like, oh, production favored Ginger in that moment. Like, Bosco did not do as well as Ginger. So I don't feel as bad for Bosco, because there wasn't anything that I felt like she got screwed over in this episode. When I think about the last couple, I mean, she won last week, didn't she?
She did, yes.
So, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't feel bad. Like, I don't feel like there should be this, like, oh, production favored Ginger. No, Ginger just beat her in a lip sync, and fair and square, you know?
Yeah.
I just think that if anything, Bosco probably got the best favoritism of all of the songs, because they gave a burlesque number for one of the ones to choose, which she got to choose. So, like, that's one of the things that I just want to go in and say, like, I feel like there was a song for everybody. Whether or not they got to perform it is just a little off. But I just think generally, like, people are just kind of getting to a point where they're going to be sick of seeing people who have been around a lot, but are still worthy of being on. Like, you can't argue that Ginger is an all-star, right?
Yeah.
But like, we also got to see Irene kill it this season. We got to see Bosco kill it this season. We got to see Lydia kill it this season. We got to see people come back who, when the cast was announced, people went, I'm excited to see how they do, but I'm not really rooting for them, or I don't really know if they're ready or whatever. And like, the people that everyone thought were going to clean house, like Mistress, she didn't. You know, I think that there should be justice for Denali. I think there should be justice for some people in the cast, but that's also some of the best positions to be in as a queen on this. If you are a robbed queen, you have a career after this, period. So
this is true. And, you know, I think, she sort of said as much to, Candy said that to Georges online, where, you know, it was a little shade to Jimbo, but she was like, yeah, like, you're going to feel a little shitty for a little bit of this, but then you're going to realize that sometimes you end up having a lot more opportunities than the winner. She said the quote unquote winner. I'm like, no, why you gotta drag Jimbo?
Come on. Most of the people who are some of the most famous drag queens from this franchise did not win.
Yeah.
Katya became huge because she didn't win. If Katya had won season 7 or All Stars 2, I genuinely think she would not have had the longevity. But because people felt like she was so, you know what I mean? Like,
and the more you think about like all the people that are involved with this show, like, yes, RuPaul, we'd like to think that RuPaul has like the final say, but it's really not just the final say by him, because it is heavily influenced by who even ends up on the cast in the first place.
yeah.
There's so many people in production that are sort of like tugging and pulling at how this plan pans out, that like this cannot be a summation of your worth as a drag queen. It just can't. It feels nice. Nobody likes to lose. Everybody wants to win, and more importantly, everybody needs some money. Everybody needs money. Okay, so losing out on $200,000, oh yes, of course, that's gonna fucking sting. So I'm not gonna try to diminish that, but like when it comes to like you as a performer and your worth, it's a bunch of
There was a lot of money given away this season, by the way. Like Ginger leaves with like $230,000 or $40,000 because of all the lip syncs that she won. Could you grab the ice cream, bring it in the freezer, please? I feel like she wins this season, or she wins this season with a lot of money. A lot of people leave this season with a whole bunch of like lip sync winning money and like mini challenge money. Like somebody left with $12,500. Other people left with $10,000. Other people are left with, George's leaves with $40,000, and like all these like. To sit here and say like, oh, Ginger's the only one who leaves with anything is just not true. Like most of this cast who went to the semifinals left with at least 10K. Yeah. And that's on top of all the other stuff that they probably got for coming back. So I think that I'm going to come back and say just again, like we need to just celebrate that these queens are getting paid as they should be, that they're entertaining us, that they brought us some drama, which I loved. They played some strategy, which I loved. They were shady, which I loved. There was some good drag. There were some funny things. There was a lot of people who surprised us. There were some people who didn't surprise us. And I think that, overall, I feel like All Stars 10 for me was better than All Stars 9 and All Stars 8. At the very least for me. Yeah. That's where I would rank it over the last couple ones. So hopefully All Stars 11 is a little better. Aman, anything else about this season that we didn't discuss or this finale that you want to make sure that you bring up before we go on a hiatus until season 18 airs in probably January?
No, I'm good. It's been a good year of Drag Race thus far, and we're closing it out now, as far as the American seasons are concerned, at least. Just be kind, everybody. Be kind.
Yes, be kind, support each other, make your voices heard where and whenever you can, peacefully, persistently. We as queer people get to choose our family, but we also have to fight for our rights a little bit more than others. And we also have to be looking out for those who have intersectional identities within this. So please look out for people who are different than you as you would for the people who are similar to you as we navigate these next few months. Thankfully, we are not going away as faces on RHAP. We've got a lot going on this summer with Big Brother. Aman, where can people find you, and what else are you up to where people can keep up with you?
You can find me everywhere at Aman Adwin. I unfortunately really am not doing too much with RHAP for Big Brother this year. School is just really kicking my ass, and so I have to take a step back, at least for the first part of the season. So you'll really just be able to catch me over at the Diary Room, where thankfully we recorded a lot of episodes in advance.
Hey.
I'm able to sort of like still do that. So check me out over with Matt Lagori at the Diary Room, wherever you get your podcast, if you would still like to hear me talk some Big Brother.
And make sure that you're following him too, because Aman's tweets are just chef's kiss when it comes to Big Brother, of course. And of course all the time, but especially with Big Brother. You can all follow me at AugustaWind11 on Instagram or at Beth-Dixon on Blue Sky. You can also catch me on Twitch. I'm going to be trying to stream again. It's been a few years, and you can catch me at twitch.tv/AugustaWind11. This Friday, I will be streaming for a long time. And if you like Pokemon, you are in luck, because I'm going to be cutting together with like 100+ other content creators, and we are going to try to break our own Guinness World Record. That's right, I am a part of a Guinness World Record for how many shiny Pokemon can we find in Pokemon games in 24 hours. 1,700 something is the goal, and we are hoping to break it, so please follow, and if you're into that, we'd love to have you over there. And you can also catch me this Thursday on RHAP's live feed update with Taryn at 11 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday. So I'm excited to get dust it all off. I will be watching the feeds, but just maybe not with my Paramount Plus account. So we're going to find ways, okay, people? We're going to try to do this. We're going to find the resistance. We're going to do it. Thank you all to everybody behind the scenes at RHAP, and for all of you for just sticking around and listening to us all season long. We look forward to seeing you in January, when we will be back, hopefully with Liana again, since she'll be settled, and we will take our little break from there. Have a great summer, and we'll see you soon. Bye, 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 bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.